of irrigation engineering. Hopefully this is section A and D. I am unable to put the link on WhatsApp. WhatsApp is not working on on laptop. So you have to join it through Microsoft Teams or through your emails or send you people may send link to your friends. 37 students are already with me. अगर तो WhatsApp चल जाता है तो मैं लिंक पुट कर देता हूँ, लेकिन लगता नहीं है. Okay. Uh, with respect to our lectures, we were talking about water quality parameters which we have to see. Previously, what we have seen is the water quality parameters and how to measure them with respect to agriculture and with respect to irrigation engineering. There are more strict provisions, more strict requirements for drinking water quality, but for irrigation water quality, major things which we have to see are the primary nutrients, major nutrients, major constituents, which we have listed over here: nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and calcium, and magnesium, and sulfur. So these constituents we measure with the help of a parameter. We call it either sometimes we say parts per million, sometimes we say milliequivalent per liter, sometimes we say Siemens per centimeter or micromoles per centimeter. So these are some of the measuring units which were informed to you with respect to water quality. And you were also informed with respect to total dissolved salts, what is the cutoff limits between freshwater, marginal freshwater, and saline water for agriculture irrigation purpose as being used in Pakistan in that upper box, in the top box. These are the cutoff limits with respect to total dissolved salts. If we want to further segregate how much should be a particular salt of sodium or salt of sulfate or chlorides, so then we have to look into the detailed quality irrigation water quality requirement as given by Schofield or as given by Christensen. These both are given in the book of equality. So permissible limit as given by Schofield is in the similar range as we say that 1000 ppm should be the limit of dissolved salt. He mentioned that permissible limit is 525 to 1400 ppm, and sodium should be in the range of 40 to 60% of the total dissolved salt. Chloride should be 7 to 12 milliequivalent per liter, and sulfate should be 7 to 12. So these requirements, if fulfilled, then we say that this is a kind of permissible water for irrigation purpose, and it will not cause some major harm to the land, to the soil. It will not cause salinity, and it will not cause yield problem, the output problem to the crop. So after explaining this, you were informed out of surveyed area, I think it is 3-4 decades old survey. Out of the 30 million acre land, half of the land is having groundwater quality, which can be considered as a fresh groundwater quality, 14 million acres. While small quantity, about 4.5 million acre is having the groundwater, which can be categorized as marginally saline water or marginally fresh water, and about 11 million acre is said to be having the saline groundwater. Its distribution in Pakistan, if you see, close to the Arabian Sea, it has most of the irrigated area is saline. This white area is actually, I think, not irrigated. There are hills over here. So irrigated areas over here on the right bank of the Indus over here, and left bank of Indus over here. So most of the most of the Sindh province area is underlain by hazardous or saline groundwater. So they are heavily dependent upon the fresh water being provided by the rivers and by the canals which are emanating from these rivers. So people living around the canal, they are relying even for drinking water also, they are relying on the fresh water supplied through the canals. Because of this salinity issue, because of this hazardous groundwater issue in Sindh province, uh, allocation of the water per unit acre of the land in Sindh is higher as compared to the allocation of the water per unit acre of the land in Punjab province and KPK province, because some of the water groundwater people are using in Punjab, which is fresh groundwater, and they are augmenting their supply. Uh, Supply of the canals is being augmented. Supplies of the canal is being added through the supply from the groundwater. So that is the water quality parameters or water quality related information we wanted to convey to you. So if you have any questions in this part, you are welcome to ask. अभी तक WhatsApp नहीं चला तो okay. So today we want to discuss water resources of Pakistan, how much quantity of water is available in Pakistan. Maybe in hydrology section, in hydrology subject, you might have been given how much is the water resources availability in Pakistan. If we consider our irrigation system is being supplied water through three main sources. Our water resources consist of these three main I can say sources. So one is through the rainfall, which is occurring directly on our cultivated area. Second is the water which is coming to this irrigation system of Pakistan through the rivers, or we call that as a surface water, which is entering to our irrigation system through rivers. Although that water is also being generated, the water in the river is also being generated from the rainfall or glacier melt, which is also coming from the snowfall. So, theoretically speaking, all the water is coming through rainfall. But if I demark the boundary of our irrigation system, and then I see what is the water available, then some water is available through rainfall, some is entering into this area through the rivers, and that river is getting water from the rainfall or snow melt in some other part. So our irrigation system, which we call as Indus Basin Irrigation System, IBIS, so that gets water from the rainfall, surface water, and in those areas where the groundwater is of good quality, fresh groundwater or marginally fresh groundwater, over there, groundwater is also playing an important part to add into the irrigation water. So individually, if we see each of them, rainfall we are getting through the weather system, which has been informed to you in hydrology. We have two prominent weather systems which are bringing water through the rainfall in this area, rainfall and snowfall. In this area, we have two prominent systems. One we call as the monsoon system, which is coming from the east and the south of the Pakistan into Pakistan. Monsoon, which is coming from east side. So sometimes we say them easterly weather system, or weather which is coming from the east side. So monsoon system is one weather system which is causing rainfall and the precipitation, and that is helping us sustain this irrigation system. And the second source of the rainfall is coming from the weather system which is generated from the west of Pakistan, from the Afghanistan and far beyond Afghanistan, from the Turkey and those area and Siberia and places on the west side of the Pakistan. So those weather system which are generated from the westerly part of Pakistan and beyond, and then they come into Pakistan and give us precious rain in the winter season. So that is called as westerly disturbances. Those weather system is called as westerly disturbances, and they usually cause rainfall during the winter season, December, January, whatever the rainfall we have seen in the previous few months, November, December, January, February. So that is not because of the monsoon, that was because of the westerly disturbances. So these two systems are being observed, are being relied by Pakistan, and Pakistan Meteorological Department is a department which is measuring the rainfall with the help of the large rain gauge network installed in Pakistan. So they keep record of both of these weather system, and to take care of the flood forecast and to take care of the to avoid the flood and to issue a flood warning, they keep the track of the monsoon weather system uh, from the point of its generation, point of its start, which is usually Bay of Bengal. So usually this monsoon system is generated in Bay of Bengal. So if you see this figure, you can see Pakistan, you can see India over here, you can see I think Nepal over here, and Bangladesh over here, and maybe somebody know what is it. I think Burma is over here, and Myanmar you call it now, and Bhutan is over here. Hopefully Bhutan. Okay, so this bay, which is the bay in Indian Ocean, so that is called as Bay of Bengal, and we have Arabian Ocean over here, and Arabian Ocean is part of Arabian Sea is part of Indian Ocean. So over here, because of the mechanism, you already know why monsoons are created. It is the temperature difference which gives rise. It is the characteristics of the land area and the water bodies, which have different way of heating and different way of cooling. When at the start of the summer season, there is a low pressure generated over here, and that low pressure then moves towards the land area because land start heating quickly as compared to the water bodies. So when land start heating quickly because of the summer season, so when it is heated up, the air masses are their density is reduced, air masses go up, and a low is generated in the low pressure is generated in the land area, and the weather system which was generated in the Bay of Bengal, it starts moving towards the land area. First it enters into India, and then sometimes passing all the India, passing throughout the width of India, it reaches to the eastern part of Pakistan. And if some barrier is created, if some suitable mechanism is created, that weather system is lifted up, it might be because of the orographic lifting, or it might be because of the convective lifting, then rainfall occurs in different part of Indo-Pakistan and other areas. So this monsoon system is not only specific to Indo-Pakistan, it generates rainfall in many countries around the world. So this rainfall system, if you see, one system was generated on 17th of 9, 17th of September in 2010. This is the map of the track of the monsoon. So that entered into that did not enter into Pakistan, and it vanished away after occurrence of the rainfall in upper part of India, in northern India. But one weather system which was created in, I think, July 25 7th of 2010, or before that 24/7 of 2010, that move across the India, went to the southern part of Pakistan, and then entered into the western part of the Pakistan and caused heavy rainfall into north and west part of the Pakistan, in the Peshawar Valley, in Parachanar area, and in Skirt, what is it over here, in Risalpur side. So huge rainfall occurred over here that caused flooding in the Indus River over here. There was no flooding in the rivers on the east side. There was no flooding in Ravi. There was no flooding in Chenab, and even Jhelum did not get much water, but huge water because of the monsoon activity. And later on, people have analyzed why so much heavy rainfall occurred. It was so much heavy that more than 300 millimeter rainfall occurred at some of the stations like I think Risalpur station and close by stations got huge rainfall. That caused havoc in Pakistan through the Indus River. That flood was gathered together in Indus River, and then it went all across Pakistan and caused flooding, which we call as the 2010 flood. It caused breaches on the Tosa Barrage. Marginal one was broken, and water entered into Muzaffargarh and Kutadu area. Then it caused havoc close to Mittenport and then in Sindh province. It caused billions of dollars of loss and precious life were lost. But it also, so this is the one of the weather system which is prominent in Pakistan, and every year we get huge water quantity through this system, and also sometimes we get the flooding also through this system. Engineers' duty is to provide water when it is available and to evacuate the water when it is available in excess quantity. So sometimes we are fighting with the drought, which is the lack of water availability, lack of water, and sometimes we are fighting with the flooding, which is excess of water. So these are the duties of the engineers: provide water when it is required, and to this 2010 flood was said to be caused because of the mixing or intermixing of the monsoon lows and some westerly disturbances. They were combined together, and that caused huge rainfall in this area. Uh, Similarly, they take a track of all the monsoon activities, and then they issue the warning. They have the protocols available that they issue the warning when low pressure of the monsoon reaches near to the Pakistani catchments, the catchments which are feeding Pakistan. Hopefully, you know, catchment is all that area which drain out the water at a certain outlet. So that area, that contributing area, is called as the catchment area. So monsoon and westerly are the two weather system which gives water to Pakistan. If we combine all the water which comes to Pakistan in a year, then of course it fluctuates from year to year. But we can calculate its mean value or average value which we get in a year. So average value have the values of the rainfall in a year have been collected, a database have been made, and then average of the 30-year annual rainfall was calculated, and then it was described with the help of GIS software, and this contour map was generated, which shows the normal annual rainfall of Pakistan using the data of these stations. These red points are the stations in Pakistan. What stations? Meteorological stations which measure the rainfall. So it shows us the variation of the rainfall all over Pakistan. It does not tell me how much is the average annual rainfall of Pakistan. So wherever you live, you can see what is average rainfall for your area. For example, those people living in Lahore, they can see that we have this shade green and blue, close to green and blue. So if I say this is a blue, uh, this green to blue, 600 to 700 millimeter is average rainfall for Lahore, and least rainfall, average rainfall is for Nakundi and this area, Turbat area. They are getting the least rainfall, and then this area, Ladkana, and I think Sakhar is over here. So these areas getting the least rainfall over here. The maximum rainfall is occurring in Pakistan in the foothills of in the Murray area, in the hilly area of Murray and surrounding area. So that is getting water rainfall more than 1800 millimeter, about 2 meter depth of the water occurs on average basis. Some year more than that, some year less than that. So if we combine, or if we want to bring it to one figure, how much is the average rainfall we are getting in Pakistan, then we have to see some databases. One of the database is given by Aquastat. So I have put it over here as a small figure because I just want to tell you from where you can get such information. There is Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization. It is a subsidiary of United Nations, so it is a world level body which is taking care of food and agriculture around the world, and it is also contributing towards knowledge dissemination and the data collection and similar things which can secure the food availability around the world. So they have a software or database, they call it Aquastat, which gives us the statistics of water. Aqua is other name for water. So they gives us the statistics of water around the globe and also for different countries. When we search it for Pakistan, we see that the long-term average rainfall precipitation for Pakistan is about 490 millimeter per year. So that is a figure quoted by them. Similar figure has been quoted by Pakistan Meteorological Department also. Let us see what they say. So 490 we can say with reference to the International Organization, Food and Agriculture Organization, their database Aquastat, they say that about 490 millimeter is the rainfall, and it varies. Average rainfall varied between this period. 400 to 500 is the range in which we see the variation, and also most of this 490 millimeter rainfall occurs during the, of course, monsoon season, or what we call as rainy season. Or with respect to our agriculture, we have divided the seasons into two seasons. With respect to agriculture, we have divided the season into two seasons. One season we call as Kharif season, please remember it, which starts from April and it ends at the end of the September. And other season is Rabi season, which starts from October and it ends with the end of March. So start of October to end of March is Rabi season, or Rabi is the other name for Bahar, for the so in this season, the main crop in Rabi season, which is nowadays we are in the Rabi season, main crop is the wheat crop in Pakistan. While in Kharif season, the main crops in Pakistan are rice and cotton are the main Kharif season crops. So most of the rainfall occurs during the Kharif season, and Rabi season is relatively dry season, and we use Kharif season rainfall and the flows in the river. We store that and then we release that in the Rabi season. Uh, if we see that data provided by Pakistan Meteorological Department, there is a research paper written by DG Pakistan Meteorologist Dr. Qamar Zaman and other Dr. Ghulam Rasool. So these are the experts of meteorology. They have collected the data of Pakistan from 1901 to 2007 annual rainfall. They have plotted it over here. They have shown us the trend of the rainfall also, and from this database we can calculate the normal annual rainfall also. In hydrology, I think we have informed you that the annual normal rainfall or normal annual rainfall is the average of the 30-year rainfall data. So if it is not 30-year rainfall data, then we say this is a mean rainfall. So when we use our normal annual, so that is categorized with the 30-year mean value. So from here they have shown us that there was a reduction in the annual rainfall up till 54, and then there was an increase of the annual rainfall. This is green line is the 10-year moving average. Hopefully you know moving average. Over here it will be average of the previous 10 year. Next it will be the average of the next previous 10 year. So this is moving average 10-year data. If I see it close to the present time up to, so we see that the average rainfall they have quoted is somewhere between 400 to 500 millimeter. If we take average of last 30 year, so it will be, I think 490 seems to be a reasonable figure for stating the normal annual rainfall of Pakistan. So 490 millimeter, you can convert it into million acre feet, how much volume of water is coming. 490 millimeter is a depth unit. So if somebody want to convert it into the volume unit, he should multiply or she should multiply it with the area of the Pakistan. So then we will be getting how much volume of water in cubic meter or kilometer cube, or another unit we use frequently in Pakistan is for volume is acre feet. If 1 feet of the water is standing on 1 acre of the land, so that volume of water is called as 1 acre feet. And we have the conversion factor available. You know, acre is 43560 square feet. So 1 acre feet is 43560 cubic feet. So from cubic feet, you can convert it into the other unit, cubic meter or cubic kilometer or hectares feet or hectares meter, something like that. So that is the availability of water as far as the rainfall is concerned on average basis. But not all of this water is coming on the cultivated area. We are looking for the water resources available for irrigation. So that was the whole picture of Pakistan, 490 millimeter on average basis all over the Pakistan. And people have estimated that total annual rainfall, if it on the Indus Basin, whole Pakistan is not Indus Basin, and whole Indus Basin is not Pakistan. Got it? Both are true. If I say Pakistan, so Indus Basin is not whole Pakistan. Indus Basin finish at the delta area close to the Thatta, and then its boundary is like this. As my mouse is moving, so its boundary is like this. Then it enters into Afghanistan and somewhere into India, and it is like this over here. So Indus Basin comprises of Indus Basin extends to four countries: India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and China. Uh, and some part of the Pakistan, especially this west and especially this Balochistan, is not part of Indus Basin. So that is what I said. Not whole Pakistan is Indus Basin, and not whole Indus Basin is Pakistan. So on the Indus Basin irrigation system, uh, the quantity coming from the rainfall has been estimated as 40 million acre feet. Uh, if you want to convert million acre feet into billion cubic meter, other unit in SI units will be billion cubic meter. So there is a factor of 0.81. You have to multiply this 40. You have to divide this 40 by 0.81. Then we will be getting it by billion cubic meter. So it comes, hopefully it will be about 60 or some close to that billion cubic meter. So total average rainfall. Previously, we told you the depth of the water, rainfall in the units of the depth of water. Now we are telling you rainfall occurring on Indus Basin in volume units. So 40 million acre foot occurs in Indus Basin, and 60% of that falls on the cultivable command area. But out of this 60% of this 40 million acre feet, which occurs on the cultivable command area, sometimes it occurs in excess quantity and crop cannot use it. And sometimes it occurs when crop don't need that water. So out of this total 60% of the 40 million acre feet, a very small part is what crop use for its growth purpose. The rest is usually the wastage or deep percolation. So the estimate that how much water is being utilized by the crop from the direct rainfall, and that direct rainfall which is used by the crop is called as a effective rainfall. Sometimes we call this as effective rainfall. So that amounts to be about 6 million acre feet only. Uh, so out of the top 40 million acre feet occurring on the Indus plains, and 60% of that occurring on the cultivable land, only 6 million acre feet is being utilized by the crops effectively. So we can say that rainfall contribution is 6 million acre feet as effective rainfall, while rainfall on the Indus plain is 40 million acre feet. 60% of that is occurring on the cultivable command area. Hopefully you know these things. Command area, uh, I told you previously, watershed area. So now command area is that area which is being fed by one source of water or one canal or one irrigation system. So that area is called as the command area. So command area gets the water from a source, uh, and it should be differentiated from the watershed area. Don't mix them together. Both are opposite to each other. So I have already told you the seasons, Rabi and Kharif season. You should remember it. Irrigation experts should be knowing it, and you should be knowing some of the crops of Rabi season and some of the crops of the Kharif season. Rain occurs in the rainy season in Pakistan is July to September. So if we see the second source of water in Pakistan is the surface water. That means the rivers which are entering into the Indus basin irrigation system. River entering into the Indus basin irrigation system. When we say Indus basin irrigation system, we mean, if I tell you through the figure of Pakistan, by Indus basin irrigation system, although over here you are seeing this light color is the boundary of the Indus basin itself. So Indus basin irrigation system in Pakistan is in the plain area of Pakistan. When rivers enter into the plain area, we say this is the Indus basin irrigation system. So when it enters into the plain area, we have the gauging station on the rivers. The gauging station, the river gauging station, the hydrological gauging station we have installed when water enters into the plain area of Indus Basin. So those gauging stations are called as a rim station. One rim station on the Satluj River, we call it as a Suleiman Ki station. One rim station on the Ravi River, we call it, sometimes we call it Jassar Bridge. There's a bridge at the border of India and Pakistan, we call Jassar Bridge. One gauging station is at Marala Barrage, that is the rim station for Chenab. Mangla is just at the boundary of Kashmir and Punjab. So Mangla serves as a rim station for river Jhelum. Then at Kalabagh or sometime at Tarbela, we measure the water of Indus River. So Kalabagh Barrage or Jinnah Barrage or Jinnah Headwork is called as the rim station for Indus. So water is continuously being measured on these rim stations, and people have accounted that water, and average water which is coming to Pakistan through these rim station is being mentioned over here. So that average water, if I talk about the whole Pakistan, is about 148 or 145 million acre feet. 145 million acre feet after 1976 to 2013, average water is 145 million acre feet, which is coming as surface water through the rivers in the plain area of the Indus Basin in Punjab and in Sindh and Balochistan irrigation system, which is depending on Indus Basin. So 145 is the figure which you should be knowing, or about 148 million acre feet is the figure which is average water which is coming to Pakistan through rivers. So rainfall was about 40 million acre feet, total rainfall, and on Indus Basin, and 145 million acre feet we are getting from surface water. If we want to further go into its detail, Indus is contributing maximum out of it. So out of 145 million acre feet, 90 million acre feet is contributed by Indus. So bulk is contributed by Indus. 90 divided by 145, 66 or something, so much percentage. 90 divided by 145, hopefully it will be 66 or close to that percentage is contributed by Indus. While Chenab and Jhelum is contributing in lesser quantity. Jhelum is smaller river as compared to Chenab, remember it. So Jhelum is contributing something close to 23 million acre feet, while Chenab is contributing 27 million acre feet on annual basis. So 90, 23, 27 and 145 you should remember. Eastern rivers, previously they used to flow in huge quantity, but after our agreement with India, which we call as Indus Water Treaty, after our agreement with India in 1960, which you know as Indus Water Treaty, rights of the water use for Ravi River and Satluj River and another Beas River were given to India. So India have diverted much of its water, so very less quantity of the Ravi River and Satluj River enter into Pakistan, but on average basis, something close to 8 million acre feet on average basis enters into Pakistan, and it is further reducing. They are growing their irrigation system, they are making more reservoirs and dams, so it is reducing day by day. Currently, I think it is even less than 8 million acre feet, which we are getting from eastern river. So when we combine them together, about 145 million acre feet, we can say, is the average flows of Pakistan. Another important thing you should see, one is the distribution of water with respect to rivers. 90 from Indus, 23 from Jhelum, 27 million acre feet from Chenab. So these are the three main surface water sources. Uh, at Rim Station, river flow changes from location to location. So when we are saying this is at the Rim Station. You should be knowing the names of the Rim Station also. For for Indus, usually the Janab Biraj or sometimes Tarbela is called as Rim Station. For Jhelum, Mangla is the Rim Station. For Chenab, Marala is the Rim Station. For Ravi, Jassar Bridge is the Rim Station. And for Satluj, Suleiman Ki is considered as the Rim Station. So the data of these Rim Station help us find how much is the average flows for Pakistan. Another thing I would like to emphasize is that out of this total 145 million acre feet, uh, more than 80%. Anybody can check 26 divided by 145 calculator किसी के पास हो तो check the percentage variation. Much of this water is coming from the during the monsoon season, that is the Kharif season. So 122 million acre feet out of 145 million acre feet. So I think this becomes 15% बनेगा क्या बनेगा कोई अगर कैलकुलेटर को चलाए 26 कितना बनेगा
15.8.
So about 18% I think we are getting in Rabi, while the rest 82% we are getting in Kharif season, in monsoon season. So this variation of the availability of water, see the variation. If this would have been equally divided in both the season, maybe we would not be requiring the reservoirs, because there's a huge variation of the water availability with respect to seasons. So to compensate or to fulfill the needs of the Rabi season crop, we heavily depend on the storage of the water available in Kharif. So that is the technical main reasons why we need reservoirs, why we need the big reservoirs, why we need to store water, because 80-82% water is available in Kharif, and we don't have capability to utilize it. Our irrigation system cannot utilize this water. If we cannot utilize this water, then it will ultimately enter into the ocean area and it will be mixed with the saline water over there. And we will not be getting some high income return from that water. So we need to store that water, and we have to tell it to the people who are against the reservoirs and dams that we need, our geographical and our climatological condition is such that we have to store water in the affluent season when we have more water, and we have to utilize it in Rabi season. And people are doing it in other countries. Out of this 145 million acre feet, a very summarized figure of water budget of Pakistan, where it goes. We have irrigation system which have a capacity to divert water. So each canal has a certain capacity. So it has been seen that out of this 145 million acre feet, we are able to divert 100 to 105 million acre feet, 101 to 103 million acre feet of the water we can divert into irrigation system, means towards the canals. And then it moves in the canals and then reaches to the farmland for agriculture purpose. While it is moving in the rivers, about 10 million acre feet is lost through seepage and through evaporation and through storage in the low-lying area, and then seepage and evaporation. So about 10 MAF water is considered as a system loss in the major rivers and the nalas, not in the canals. So that is the loss in the rivers and the nalas. About 103 million acre feet we divert into the canal. That this becomes 113 million acre feet. The balance water goes to the sea. So that is considered on average basis we are losing 30 million acre feet water to the sea. So that is the opportunity for our system, that this water being released to the sea should be reduced by construction of reservoirs, so that that water can be diverted to the canals, and by enhancing our canal irrigation system, so that current capacity of diversion can be enhanced. We should construct new canals so that water should be diverted, or the capacity of the existing canal system need to be enhanced. We have century-old canal system over here that need to be rectified, that need to be improved. They are close to the end of their lifespan, so we need to remodel them, and renovation of these irrigation system is required. One recent renovation has been done in the LBDC, we call it last time. LBDC is the Lower Bari Doab Canal emanating from Baloki headworks on the Ravi River. So that has been remodeled and reconstructed and lined, and its head regulator has been modified in last 5 to 10 year period. So similar work irrigation department is keeping going on whenever they have the money available through the donors and through the Pakistan government funding. They keep upgrading their system. So out of 103 million acre feet which we divert into the canal, not all reaches to the farm. Not all. We have the canal which run 100 of the kilometers, then it irrigates the area. We are diverting water from the river into the main canal, then into branch canal, then into distributary, and then it applies water to the farmland. So huge network of irrigation system also causes losses, seepage and evaporation losses. It has been estimated that out of 100, about 40 MAF is lost away through seepage. Only 60 MAF reaches to the farm gate. Farm gate is not crop, it is the start or the gate of the farmland. So when we apply that water to the farmland, then also there are some losses of evaporation and deep percolation. Percolation is a kind of seepage. When water, seeped water reaches to the water table or goes deep underneath, we say this is percolation. So plant actually use 60 million acre feet out of 60 million acre feet, only 1/3 is used by the plant, and the rest is considered as a losses in our irrigation system. If we use drip irrigation system, which only soak the area close to the root of the plant, so then we will be needing only this much quantity of the water for the same area. We will be avoiding this loss of 40 million acre feet. We will be avoiding these two losses, and we will be avoiding this 10 million acre feet. So that is the benefit of a high efficiency irrigation system. So out of this 40 million acre feet, which is lost, a part is lost through evaporation, but bulk is lost through seepage. So this causes recharging of the groundwater. But don't be happy that this recharging should be enhanced, because it is considered that some people give this reason that okay, let us continue this recharging of the groundwater so that we can use it. Better practice is that don't let it go down and use it on the surface, because it will need energy to get it back from the water table or the groundwater table. So this 40 million acre feet water is going into the ground, and that cause out of that 4 MAF is evaporation losses, and 36 million acre feet goes to the our groundwater table, into our groundwater reservoir groundwater table. Some part of that is saline groundwater, some part of that is fresh groundwater. So that seepage which occurs in the saline groundwater, that is not usable in the later part also. So only that much water which joins the fresh groundwater bodies, people use tube wells and the wells to extract it back. So there is some contribution from the groundwater to the irrigation system in addition to this 101 million acre feet or 60 million acre feet. In addition to this 60 million acre feet which we divert through the surface water, we are getting back some water from the groundwater also. How much is that will be listed. I will come to this slide later on. How much is that from the groundwater is listed over here. About 25 million acres of Pakistan land is having usable groundwater, which is fresh groundwater plus marginally fresh groundwater. So average recharge of this groundwater table is about 45 million acre feet. There are more than a million tube wells. Sometimes we quote it as a 1.2 million. 12 लाख के करीब ट्यूबवेल्स हैं which are getting water out of the groundwater reservoirs. And one good thing of this groundwater reservoir is that you can extract water when and whenever you need it. This is a kind of storage which is available to use whenever you need it. But the bad thing about it is that it is heavily energy dependent. You need to spend money to extract it. So that is one. So how much water we can get out of this is considered as that much water which is equivalent to the recharge capacity of the groundwater. So that much should be the upper limit of extraction. In some places in Indus Basin irrigation system, we are stressing the groundwater, especially in the urban environment. In the rural environment, still our groundwater is not in bad condition. We recharge that groundwater again. But in urban environment, we are putting the groundwater bodies under stress, and the groundwater level is going down every year. It is not being recharged to its previous level. In Lahore, approximately 1 meter or more, 1.2 meter is average drawdown in urban area in the groundwater in the. But if you go out of the Lahore, then such the condition is not much severe. A recent study of our student have carried out on Multan. He specified about 0.39 meter, that becomes about 1 feet or close to that, is the reduction of the groundwater table in Multan area. And similar is condition in other urban areas. But in rural environment, groundwater is still sustaining. Problem is coming with respect to the quality issue with the groundwater. So that is our overall water availability with respect to rainfall, with respect to surface water, and with respect to what we call it groundwater reservoir. A very comprehensive study have been carried out through the World Bank funding, and the title of that study is called as Pakistan Getting More From Water. You can download it if you search it, Pakistan Getting More From Water. Previously, I have shown you a flow chart which is giving you very briefly water balance of Pakistan, surface water balance of Pakistan. This they have described this water balance in a more detailed way, and they have published it in 2019. So more recent data have been utilized, and they have given the figures in units of billion cubic meter. So BCM is a billion cubic meter. Because we are familiar, I am familiar with million acre feet. So for my own guideline, I have put this equivalence. 170 billion cubic meter is 137 million acre feet. Conversion is written over here. So if you see, they are saying that about 200 million billion cubic meter is the surface water availability. Runoff generated within Pakistan, runoff from the eastern river, they are saying only 3 billion cubic meter. So less than 2 million acre feet. It comes to be less than 2 million acre feet. Previously we say eastern rivers are giving us 8 million acre feet. So recent study 2019, they have downgraded it, and they are saying no, we are getting much less from here. And total about 200 billion cubic meter is the surface water which is coming to the Indus Basin in Pakistan. So out of that, about same water as we have mentioned previously, 103 million acre feet, which is equivalent to 125 billion cubic meter is diverted to the agriculture land, and some of it is lost into the seepage and goes to the ground, and some is applied to the agriculture, and that water also penetrate down into the groundwater, and some part is evaporated. So overall, what we are losing to the ocean, as given by this World Bank study, is 30 billion cubic meter from the river, and 68 billion cubic meter from other natural losses. So these are the considered as the losses which we can reduce, and we can put it for the economically beneficial purpose of the country. So I stop it over here. Please download this and try to go through it, and we can further discuss it in the coming lecture. I take your attendance. Please be with me for a few minutes, and then you can leave. If you have questions, you are welcome. So I have downloaded the attendance. Now if you have other class, you are allowed to leave. If you have questions, you are welcome. So I got the attendance. I will put it on the display. WhatsApp पे put कर दूंगा, और I request CR to please mark the attendance. So I'm stopping the recording, and thank you very much.